In a galaxy fraught with wonders, the convergence of columnar tree trunks and forking branches that supported the Wookiee city of Rukwaro enjoyed a place of special honor. Viewed from above against its backdrop of fathomless forest, the city appeared to have been rescued from the planet's harsh underworld and submitted to Kashyyyk's scudded sky as an example of nature and technology in consummate poise. At the outskirts of the city, distant from the circular buildings that rose from its spongy floor, atop a massive fallen branch that spanned several treetops, a ceremony was in progress, enacted in observance of nature's timeless cycle of life and death. The participants, including 24 Wookiees and humans of both sexes, were arranged in a loose circle around a wooden circular table. Some stood, others sat on their haunches, but all wore solemn expressions, save for the group's only non-living members, the droids C-3PO and R2-D2, whose alloy countenances remained in all circumstances essentially neutral.
We gather in memory of Chewbacca, honorable son, beloved mate, devoted father, loyal friend and comrade in arms, champion and clan uncle to all of us in spirit, if not in the traditional way.
The Wookiee speaker was called Ralrachin, though C-3PO had often heard him referred to simply as Ralra. He was tall and aged, even for his arboreal species, but it wasn't the graying muzzle that distinguished him so much as his curious speech impediment. On any other occasion, C-3PO would have been tasked to serve as translator and interpreter, but none of the humans present had need of his polyglot faculties that particular morning.
In Chewbacca, the defiant flame burned brightest, Ralra went on, black nose twitching and long arms dangling at his sides. On Kashyyyk or far afield on distant worlds, he was never less than courageous and incorruptible. A Wookiee with heart enough for 10, and eager strength enough for 50.
Chewbacca had died 6 standard months earlier during an ill-fated rescue attempt on the planet Cernpedal, after it had been targeted for destruction by the Yuzhong Vong. The fact that it hadn't been possible to retrieve his body was a source of sorrow to all, for had Chewbacca been returned to Kashyyyk, a funeral would have been held, though for honored family members only. Close to Ralra squatted Chewbacca's father, Atachikak, along with Chewbacca's auburn-furred sister, Calibo. Alongside them sat Chewbacca's widow, Malatobak, and their son, Lump Waru. Waru for short. Interspersed among the Wookiee contingent stood assorted friends, kin brothers, cousins, nieces, and nephews. Lobaka, among the latter, a Jedi Knight. The humans numbered only 6. Master Luke, Mistress Leia, Master Han, and the 3 Solo offspring, Anakin, Jason, and Jaina. Master Luke's wife, Mara, might have attended if a sudden relapse in her mysterious malady hadn't forced her to remain on Coruscant.
Natural curiosity compelled Chewbacca to leave Kashyyyk at an early age, but, like all of us, he was soon enslaved by the Empire. Fortunately, Chewbacca regained his freedom at the hands of a man of like strength and honor, our revered brother, Han Solo. And in the company of Han Solo, to whom he had pledged his life, Chewbacca was to play a crucial role in the rebellion, and in the events that led eventually to the downfall of Emperor Palpatine.
C-3PO focused his photoreceptors on Master Han, whose eyes were red-rimmed and narrowed, and whose right hand Mistress Jaina had taken between her own.
Chewbacca went on to become a soldier in the New Republic, Ralra said. He aided in Kashyyyk's liberation after the Battle of Endor, but he remained first and foremost devoted to Han Solo, as friend and indebted protector, and as guardian to Han Solo's spouse and 3 children.
Ralra turned to Han.
It was Chewbacca's honor to have been able to come to his friend's rescue on several occasions, even as recently as the crisis involving the Yvetha, when he freed Han Solo from imprisonment aboard a Yvethan warship.
As constructed, C-3PO was incapable of shedding tears or enduring heartbreak, as it was called, but his programming did allow him to experience sorrow of a sort, if not nearly to the depth experienced by humans and other living beings, and it was suddenly clear that sorrow was the source of a flutter that continued to plague him. Try as he might, he could not summon a sound thought, and with each glance at Master Han, his dismay increased.
Now, in the same way as the branches of the Rocher seek out and support one another, Chewbacca's spirit merges with and gives sustenance to our own, strengthening us for the challenges we have yet to confront.
Warfare had figured in C-3PO's existence for so long that a new invasion shouldn't have come as a surprise, but there was something different about the Yuuzhan Vong and the harrowing war they were waging on a galactic scale. It wasn't merely that they didn't distinguish among species or among worlds, New Republic, Imperial Remnant, or non-aligned, or even that their biotic warships and weapons packed such awesome destructive power. What worried C-3PO most was that this most recent conflict was one in which not even droids were spared, and that meant that, like it or not, he might yet arrive at a true understanding of grief and death. The circular table was covered with foodstuffs, bowls of Shechibic broth, barbecued trachern ribs, forest honey cakes, flasks of wine, juices and liquors. Humans and Wookiees were conversing in groups, recounting tales of Chewbacca's exploits that brought laughter, tears, or moments of sober reflection. Han sat dejectedly on a short-legged stool, resting his elbows on his knees. Malatabak and several other members of Chewbacca's family approached him. Mala was cradling a meter-long wooden box. "Han Solo," she said, smiling down at him, "we want you to have this." Han's brows knitted. He set the box down on the stool and unlatched its finely wrought metal clasp. Inside was a beautifully carved bowcaster, its marked and blemished skeleton stock polished to a deep brown gleam. "I recognize this," Han said, nodding. He compressed his lips to trap a moan, fighting to escape him. "It's one of the first I ever saw him make." "Chewbacca fashioned it shortly after we married," Mala said, "while you were here. He fashioned better in his time, but this one retains the warmth and power of him." Han hefted the weapon. "I feel it." He hugged Mala, his head barely reaching her chin. "I'll treasure it." Mala said, "Jaudril, Chewbacca's cousin, is wondering when you and your family will be returning to Coruscant." Han shrugged. I hadn't thought about it. Tomorrow sometime, I suppose." Mala lowed in elaboration. "Jaudril asks because she and Dryanta need a small measure of time to prepare." Han's features mirrored his bewilderment. "Prepare for what? Are they coming to Coruscant with us?" Chewbacca's father, Atachik, explained. "Jaudril and Dryanta are arranging the feast for Waru and Lobaka's farewell. They will be assuming Chewbacca's life debt." Han's jaw came unhinged. He glanced from one Wookiee to the next in rising dismay. But you can't. Chewie's dead. All debts are off." Atachik was not at all happy with Han's response. "Death may have extinguished my son's defiant flame, but our debt to you continues until yours is extinguished." No, I can't accept this. Chewie saved my life 10 times over. He died saving Anakin's life. Atachik rumbled, nearly showing his fangs. "A life debt is just that." Mala, too, was glowering at Han. "You would not defame Chewbacca's memory by refusing to allow his debt to be honored." Han stared at her, mouth ajar. Right, he said at last. "I'd cut off my arm before I'd dishonor Chewie's memory in any way. You know that. It's just that I'm not ready. Chewie's still alive for me. I can't just allow him to be replaced. You gotta understand that. He was more than a protector. He was my closest friend." The Wookiees exchanged sympathetic looks. "He clings to his memory of my husband," Mala remarked sadly.
He needs time,
Attachitcook growled, somehow without making it sound menacing. That's it, Hans said, grasping at straws. I just need time. After what seemed an eternity, Chewbacca's father nodded his head.
Then time we'll grant you. The life debt involves more than simply providing shelter from bodily harm. It succors the spirit as well.
Han saw the truth of it. I want that to go on. Mala put her huge paws on his shoulders. Then it shall.